Rooted in resilience, inspired by nature, powered by movement. The podcasts where healing meets empowerment. Let's rise and thrive together. And now, here are your hosts, Scott and Melissa.
Hey, everybody. We just wanted to pop in and let you know about our Sedona Soul Retreat coming up in June of 2026, June 2nd through the 6th in Sedona, Arizona, where we're going to have it at.
The Briar Patch.
Briar Patch.
Beautiful. It's just this amazing little nugget.
Yeah.
In Sedona, where you think the big red rocks, which you'll see those, of course, but then there's this little sanctuary of green. And one of my dear beings that just shared with me this morning that they will be attending, looked it up and was like, "Oh, that's my place."
Yeah.
They just like felt the connection, and it's very spiritual energy there, and we're excited for holding space for all of us to be in that frequency, that vibration.
It's right on Oak Creek, and we were down there just a few weeks ago checking it out to ensure it was the right fit for our folks. And we are excited about this retreat. It's our second retreat, and we're on our way to selling out. So please check it out at Vital Edge Wellness Coaching Wellness Retreats. You'll see it at vitalwellnesscoaching.com, Wellness Retreats, and sign up. Bring a friend. There's plenty of room. If you'd like double occupancy, you can come down, and we have private cottages and a lodge setting. So that's it.
It's exciting.
Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. I am your co-host, Scott Sadler. I said my name this time. I always forget my name. And I'm here with my co-host, Melissa Hedstrom. And we're here today with Stephanie Oden, our guest, and we're going to talk about introversion in a few moments. But first, we're going to pass it along to Melissa for our mindful moment.
So welcome, everyone, and welcome, Stephanie. And welcome to the individual that has chosen to listen to us right now. I appreciate you. So I'd like you, depending on what you're doing, where you're at, we're just going to make a mindful moment occur. Just think of it as getting a little more present so that you're not as distracted, even though oftentimes you listen to podcasts, you're
multitasking.
But we'll try to add a little presence to that. So I'd like you to take a nice big sigh. And when that sigh happens, think about the breath pushing down into the belly, not up in the chest. And then just let it out. And if you're in a place to do so, you're welcome to close your eyes or just keep your eyes open to a soft gaze. And relax the jaw and soften the tongue. And simply offer yourself an experience to be a witness. So think about what a witness means. You're observing something without trying to coerce it or judge it or evaluate it. Simply being curious and noticing. So we're just going to spend a couple quiet moments together being curious and noticing, being a witness of your own body in this moment with the breath coming in and going out. Now, as a witness, you may notice a thought traveling by. Just come back for about 2 or 3 more breaths. And then again, relax your jaw and soften your tongue. Let that sigh come through where you feel the belly gently press down. And then exhale, feel the shoulders soften, feel a little lift to your heart. And you can open your eyes if they're closed.
Nice.
All right. So
very nice. Good way to start the podcast every time, I think. So I want to introduce Stephanie, who is in Indiana, by way of Atlanta, I understand. She calls herself the Georgia Peach in
I'm a
Indiana.
peach. I'm a peach. Not a loser. I'm a peach.
I met Stephanie in a business consultancy program we're both in with Scott Aaron and Nancy Evans, which is a fantastic program. And we can talk about that another time, but they're fantastic people too. And I'm so lucky I got to meet a fellow coach and Stephanie. And when she introduced herself, I was like, I have to meet her. And so we got offline, we connected on LinkedIn, we had a meeting, and we became fast friends. I feel like I've known Stephanie a lot longer than I have. It's one of those kinds of connections for us.
Yeah.
And I immediately said, we would love to have you on our podcast. And we're going to be on her podcast too pretty soon. So be watching for that. Stephanie is a professional coach who focuses on introverts in the workplace and in leadership. And I love how she talked about this with me, how she phrased the introverted leader who has all the skills, but doesn't quite know how to voice or speak up in the moment to help them advance their careers or to be heard. And I'm like, wow, as kind of an introvert with extrovert tendencies, I understand that. And I know Melissa's even more of an introvert. And so we wanted to have Stephanie come on today to talk with us a little bit more about introversion and its effect and her experience, not just in the workplace, but in life in general. So Stephanie, tell us a little bit more about you and the folks you serve and how you started in this work.
Excellent. Thank you. First of all, it is an honor to be on your podcast. I've seen the work that you're doing, and it is good work, and it's serving people, and it's helping heal people. And I'm glad to be able to be here and with both of you today. Okay, breathe, because Melissa said breathe. So I'm breathing. And that's one of the things, being real and authentic. I'm in that authentic phase of being truly who I am. And a lot of people that are introverts think that, oh my gosh, I can do amazing things, but gee, I really do get tired, or I really do get anxious and nervous when I have to go on. Even though I can speak in front of people, there's still all of that stuff. And that voice in our head that says, if I have to show up perfect, and no, you don't show up as you.
Yeah.
Just being real in the moment. Thank you for watching. Those that watch, make sure you like, follow, go back, watch more of their episodes. How I got started in this. I didn't know the term introvert. I just knew I was different. I knew I got tired when I was around a lot of people, although I could people very well. And that's what fooled people. I could people very well. I think 4-H helped me with that because I did speech 1 year in 4-H. And I didn't really figure out the term until I was in corporate America. And they would always say, well, Stephanie, you're doing great on all of your goals. You just need to be a little bit more outgoing. AKA more extroverted, right? Like I'm not banging on tables and doing gyrations. And I grew up in old school leadership where it was in a manufacturing industry. So it was a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
And I had an experience where I really went full out, not being myself, to realize I had to be in myself. Where I sat in the room, I modeled what everybody else did in my leadership circle and banged on the table and said, you're okay. Full transparency, no judgment, right? No judgment. Okay.
No judgment.
No judgment.
Okay. So I sat there, I was sitting on the table and I said, your job is to make me look good. That has not ever been my heart.
Yeah.
Because I sat there and I looked at the faces of those that I was leading, who I admired, respected, and really cherished. And there was a look in their face that I was like, wait, who is that person? Let's figure it. I don't like her. I'm going to be different. I'm going to be who I am. And that started the journey for me to start to get into self-awareness, self-development, and to take back how I led. And it was okay. I figured out the whole introvert extrovert thing really when I became a career development director. And, we take Myers-Briggs. And when I found that, it was like, OMG, I am amazing, just like I am. And it became this thing of, okay, if Stephanie's door is cracked, she's possibly open to having a conversation.
Yeah.
If it's closed, enter at your own risk. And so that became that journey of more about myself, and then seeing others in leadership positions that amazing people, high achievers, but somewhere like me, they've been stifled so long that they don't know what their voice is and how to show up. And so that is what started my mission. And introverted AFF, absolutely fabulous and feisty.
I
So
love it.
there's a little bit more about me.
I love it.
I love your origination story so much. I mean, I could feel my own emotions rising in that moment, that realization, and I could see your people's faces in my mind's eye, and I could feel all that. And wow, I just find that really moving. I think that one of the things I wanted to ask about was, I've read studies, and I don't remember where, about how introverts are left behind in corporate America. And not even intentionally, right? It's just the way energies roll. The banging on the table gets the attention. And introverts will never be bangers of tables, most likely. They're going to be quiet influencers. So how do you, or how have you used other tools? And what would you advise those who are listening to? How would they tap into those other tools?
Well, one tool I will tap into every day to recommend to people is find a coach. Find a coach that you like. And I do tell people, I might not be the right coach for you, but you need to find somebody else who you can relate to, so that you have that safe space, because you're expanding your comfort zone. I also don't like the term get out of your comfort zone, because
you're an introvert.
Exactly. Right. You get me. You two get it. Right.
Yes. All right.
You say how much in sales training and leadership training, just get out of your comfort zone. Wait a minute. I've been pretty successful here.
Yeah.
You want me to get into a zone of crap?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do well there. So I use the term expand my comfort zone, because I want to operate in the growth zone and look back to, like, the tool that you can have everyone can use is take into a new situation a little bit of something that you're good at. Now Melissa talked about the witness, right? So now you're looking at it from, well, I'm bringing this with me. Just maybe I can do this other thing because I have that comfort place with me. And so that's one tool that I would encourage coaching. And another tool I'd encourage is go into situations realizing that you're already successful to this point in life. And whatever that success nugget, rock, piece, word, whatever it is, take that with you into that next situation. And don't try to give yourself grace. Don't try to go all gung ho and jump off the mountain. Just take one step towards the top of the mountain. That would be two tools that I think you can do, like, right now.
That's really good.
Well, I love that you're sharing about, it's not that we're apologizing that we're introverts, right? Or that we have to change ourselves or go get a coach to be a different. We get to bring that with us and realize that that is part of our success. That's part of our makeup. I see those memes that say, and introverts always ask to get out of their comfort zone or get louder. And we never tell extroverts to be quiet and shut up.
Well, I wouldn't say never.
But I think it's that one-way pull that it's like, oh, something's wrong with you, so you should be louder or more, get out of that, do that. And I love that you're just saying, no, meet yourself where you're at and treasure that is that is a big part of your success.
Yeah.
And it's navigating a world that wants you to, like, be louder at times.
Yes. And that's a big part of, with the clients that I work with is getting them to understand that they are okay.
Yeah.
Now, same time, you don't get to hide, because quite honestly, I'll talk about me. I have used being the way I'm wired when I don't want to deal with people. It's like,
what are you laughing about?
I'm an introvert because I just don't deal with you right now. That's not acceptable. And that's the thing that I bring to the table is I see you. I get you. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, sir.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. But you're right. But so much of society, even a lot of the training that we go through, is geared and wired towards jazz hands. I call them jazz hands.
Jazz hands, yeah.
And it's coming back to say, no, the way I did this, the way I do this is okay. And then we show up bigger.
Yeah. In that way. I like it.
I have kind of a big, messy question. And maybe it's an observation and a question. We have this dynamic between extroverts and introverts. We have this dynamic that we all want to succeed and move forward and climb the ladder. And it may be a different wall for different people on that ladder. That's fine. How has the pandemic and the younger generation the isolation of those things converted introverts into deeper or converted extroverts into becoming more introverted or maybe not knowing they're extroverts because of this environment? Is that too much or is that not enough?
I think I got it. Looking at the situation we went through with the pandemic, it was initially a great thing because it's like an introvert's dream. You mean I don't? This is amazing. I will take this every day.
Right.
365.
Yeah.
But in that process, it was also, well, wait a minute. I do need community. I do thrive for community. And that was one of the things that came out of it is, okay, I need my break and I need community. And you can also have too much stimulation even in a pandemic because everybody was offering online courses and be your best self and seminar, webinar, boom, boom, boom. That also uses energy.
Yeah.
And so really what I've seen is that it's given people an opportunity to be more aware of how they're wired and extroverts in that time frame, we actually had to help extroverts to understand that it's okay. You can do this. Quiet is not bad. We had to that's what I saw is I really had to help those that were extroverts say, okay, here's how you can use who you are and stay true to who you are, not try to change.
Right.
And you're not becoming an introvert because you're isolated. But what do you need to continue to be your best self in an environment that's forcing you to isolate?
Yeah, I love that.
Any thoughts around generations and kids in high school?
I think it was more damaging. This is my opinion. I don't have scientific research to back it up. The children who were more introverted did better, and they came out with a better ability to navigate in spaces because they had a better sense of who they were because that's the environment that they grew up in. They grew up and they were natural because they were introverts. The ones that struggle are the ones that were extroverted, that were forced into an isolation, and that was not their natural tendency. They struggled coming out of that to be able to communicate and connect because it's the flip side, right? They had been stifled and trying to figure out who they were. So a lot of kids who are more into getting their energy from being involved, they struggled more because of the situation that they were forced to be in. And then when you put them back into a school situation, it's like relearn all over again how I can react.
Yeah. Well, you had a couple of kids go through it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of mine, a combination of one very much introvert, another one that introvert, extrovert at times, but needs refuel. And so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the workplace, I mean, what kind of clients are you working with? Are they like trying to advance? Are they Are they going into a new job and want to be different? Tell me a little bit about how people know that they need you as their coach and as an introvert, because introverts aren't ones that are like, I should find somebody. They have, that's a lot of effort for them to even begin to look, right?
It is. And, it's one of the things that I'm working more on is my presence so that they know, hey, I'm here. There's a couple of types. One is they've gotten promoted to a new position. They've gone from being a peer to now they're in a leadership position and they don't know what to do with it. They just like, how do I be this? And there's no models out there. And then the second category is they know that they are not they're not living into the potential that they could be, but they don't know why. They're not getting heard in meetings. They're not able to communicate their ideas well. They seem to be overlooked, and they've gotten those reviews that say, and those end of year reviews that say, be more outgoing. You need to take a communications class, and they've gotten that. What they see as evidence of there's something wrong with them. But there's something inside of them that says, no, there's not really anything wrong with me. So there's that battle. And so that's how I help them come up with their voice and what their language is and how they can show up as their best self.
I love your one of your offerings is courage before confidence.
Yes.
It just rings true, right? And
yes,
especially for
absolutely.
introverts.
Absolutely. And that is one of the things that I stand on, and it has been my experience is I have not always been confident, but somehow I've found courage to do things that I didn't think I would do. And then looking back on when I've been courageous before.
Yeah.
No matter how small it was, what was that courageous thing that you did, and step into that. Start to create a journal of when have I been courageous. That's one of the things that I encourage them to do. And when I tell them, okay, I need you to write down a list of, I tell them 25 because when I tell them what I really want, they freak out. Okay. So they write down 25 accomplishments. They're like, I don't know any. Okay, but you do. And the reason why I want them to do that is because I wanted to bring it to top of mind at things that they have been successful at in their opinion, because we believe what we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And when I see they're like, well, I got 10. I was like, well, you can do 25 or you can do 100. Then they're more willing to do the 25. Then they start looking at it and they can start to see when they've started to be, when they have taken a courageous act. Because the brain doesn't say, well, you remember that time that you were at the edge of the pool and your brain doesn't think like that. Your brain's like, I remember when you jumped in that pool, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. It says, girl, you're successful. You got courage. And that's why that's one of the things that I tell them is to let's look at and visualize. Remember past triumphs and courageous opportunities, and then visualize what does this next thing look like when you've been successful with it.
I would imagine the courage isn't jumping in the pool either. It might be talking to the cashier, right? For some people, that's
sometimes courage is smiling and having eye contact when you really don't want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes courage is raising your hand in a meeting when you know in the past they've not been nice or listened to your idea. That's courage. Courage is sharing your idea with someone in a meeting because you haven't quite built the confidence and that presence to be heard. Sharing your idea with someone else to get the idea out there.
Yeah.
Those are also things that I consider taking courage as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm just soaking it in. I'm like, yep.
Well,
my brain goes to all the little experiences that
I'm thinking you're going to resonate with Melissa. And that's why she's like, oh, man.
Right. Because many times, being in a group setting, I would always have the question or want to respond, but I would always, somebody's hand would go up before me. And I would just be like, I knew already, but I just didn't, So, experiencing what does that look like now as an adult and stepping into that when I know what it's, kind of having those feelings of playing small. And hiding under the radar a little bit and not being seen, but at the same time in a business where I need to be seen and need to get out there. So it very much resonates with what you're talking about and how to navigate that. Because I know, like you said, I'm at that point where I'm not apologizing for the way I am anymore. I'm good with it. At the same time, I know I have a lot to share and a lot to shine. I just haven't navigated how to get that out there
with the podcast.
The podcast is a great way to get out there. Yeah. And little things. I went to a conference recently and I said, you know what? I'm going to sit in the front.
I'm always in the back.
Courage, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I knew no one when I registered for this event, so I didn't have buddies to team up with. But I said, you know what, today I'm going to take a courageous act and I'm going to sit in the front. And then they gave everybody an opportunity. Now, Melissa, I didn't sit in the first seat right here, right?
Sure.
But they started at the front. They gave everybody an opportunity to give a 60-second introduction of themselves. They started in the front. So I was not first, but I was second. And then I'm sitting by someone she's got the radio announcer voice and she, multiple 6-figure speaker. And I'm like, not practice any of this, but I just stood up as myself. And that, regardless of how they took me, that day for me, the courageous act was I intentionally put myself in a place where I could be seen.
Yeah.
Because if people, and that's something too I share with my clients is, people can't see you if you don't let yourself be seen. And you can't be mad if they don't see you. You not put yourself in a place to be seen.
I need to hear that.
Yeah, you're going to get an invoice.
And give yourself grace. And that's the other part of it. On this journey, it gets kind of rocky sometimes. But then giving myself grace, because some days I'm not about it, right? I'm like you. I'm taking the back seat and I'm not going to say anything. You're going to say, turn to the person and introduce yourself. I'm not even going to really turn to anybody. You're going to have to touch me on the shoulder because it's not a turn day today.
It's not a turn day
today. But we tend to be, the more we're courageous, the more we find courage. And then from courage, we get confidence. Because remember, we're taking that bag of success and accomplishments and micro movements into that next situation where, you know what? Remember the time when you sat in the second seat and you stood up and gave your thing? You can do this. You can do hard things.
Yeah.
So.
One of the tools, it's really important for me as a coach when I'm running a leadership meeting, a cohort, or any kind of group meeting, is to set the standard immediately by saying something like, okay, for today, there's those of us in the room that like to share a lot, and there's those of us in the room who don't like to share much. And I want those that not share much to have more of a voice, and I want those who share a lot to share a little less. I want to bring balance into the room. And that really is part of our accountability and responsibility as leaders, is to recognize that there's a lot of good ideas, but if someone has a lot of woo in them, like the Gallup Strengths, one of the themes is woo. Mine is like 29. I'm a very low woo. I know it's funny, isn't it?
I'm a low woo.
You're a low woo too. We're all low woos in this podcast today. 4 high woo people and 2 low woo people. The 4 woos are going to dominate the meeting, but there's probably great ideas with the folks. So I love woos too. I need woos because I don't want to be that. So I think it's important for leaders and for our listeners to understand that we can all contribute to this balance between extroverted energy and introverted energy by setting the standard for how we communicate and how we meet.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree with that. And I had an opportunity to work for one of my managers who was clearly not an introvert. She was extroverted, and that's how she navigated. And she needed that connection. And I'm clearly not. However, the thing that made our work partnership so good is that we knew that about each other. She
Mhm.
knew when I said, "Give me a minute," that I would come back and she would get a phenomenal idea. Or she would look at me in the room when I wasn't saying anything and knew I'd have something thoughtful to say later.
Mhm.
And so I think it's really important as leaders and as coaches and as mentors that we create that space like you talked about. And say,
Mhm.
it is okay. Just because I am amazing as an introvert and I embrace who I am, I still have a responsibility to embrace and celebrate who you are and not make you any less. And that
Yeah.
is, I agree with you absolutely, that setting that stage and giving everybody permission because, across the spectrum, there are extroverts who have introvert tendencies. So you really can't, I
Mhm.
like that. And I think it's good to set that stage and that's in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Well, I think even just our listeners today, those individuals listening to us right now, is that you're thinking probably about yourself. You're thinking, am I
Yeah.
more of this? Am I more of that? And I love that you talked about setting that in a meeting. It's like moving forward, we each can walk away from this podcast today thinking the next time I walk into a space, can I bring my courage there if I'm an introvert? Or can I be an extrovert that pauses a little bit to notice?
Which is also courage.
Courage, right?
It's
Mhm.
also
For both of
correct.
us. Yeah. So it's like, I'm excited for each of us to walk away today from the podcast being like, okay, next meeting I go to. Because a lot of times we're so, I'm just going to say it, often self absorbed with life and everything we got going on. But to pause for that moment to breathe and to show up our
Mhm.
authentic self and walk in with the support of all the others that are going to be there as well.
That's really good.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Absolutely. And
I think.
um,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there's things for introverts before you're going into a meeting, go to the bathroom first. That will allow you to do that quick reset,
Yeah.
get your energy back, practice your breathing. Like,
Mhm.
Melissa has taught us, those simple things will allow you to there's in the corporate setting, you don't always get to block off an hour of me time to have
You don't always
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, you don't get that. Sometimes you have to get a conference room corner for 5 minutes
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
recharge, and that is okay. Go sit in your car. Car self-care is underrated, Imma tell you. Car
Yeah.
self-care is underrated. So,
Yeah.
Love that.
understanding who we are allows us to do the things that make us show up even better. And so I thought I'd just give some ideas for, okay, I really have to extrovert and I got to be on. I'm leading people. And a lot of times my leaders don't get a chance to shut down because they're leading introverts and extroverts and they need to figure out how to navigate both.
Yeah.
I said, well, first, you need to figure out when you need to recharge and find ways to do that work with the schedule that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
love what
cute.
you said, Melissa, when you
What?
said for an extrovert, not being as expressive takes courage too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's your tendency to feel
Because that's your
comfortable,
tendency
right?
and that's how you're comfortable and that's where you feel secure, that's where you feel validated. I
Mhm.
mean, all those things. So I love that you highlighted that as well.
Yeah. And I just appreciate because I giggle inside as I have one of my clients very professional in her that she's had to hide in the corner to have our meetings or to some of the things we've done. When you said go to the bathroom, actually given her that task before a big meeting to go in and perform a very powerful yoga pose. And there's actually some science behind that of that. They've actually seen people's test scores improve, their
Yeah.
interviews go better,
Mhm.
just empowering the body with that energy and that confidence. So I love that you said find those moments within your day, even if it's, it's not an hour, but it's these little moments. And I just was thinking we've got to do that to tap in because it's easy as an introvert or extrovert to just go with default and do our power. And then
Yeah.
we're tapped or vice versa. We're not getting refueled.
And we're
way.
so complex, right? We talked about the strength finders, and you got Myers-Briggs, and then you got DISC, and we're so beautifully complex.
Yeah.
That as we uncover who we are, we find more of the gifts of who we are to serve others. And that is just so cool to me.
It is. And it's fascinating that we're so much alike and so different. So you bring up Gallup strengths. 1 in 333 million people will have your same exact profile.
Wow.
1 in 330 million people.
Wow.
And 1 in 275,000 will have your matching top 5.
Wow.
So that's fascinating that we can be so unique, but have all the same struggles and have be so much alike.
Be able to relate. Yeah.
Now, I know we're coming to the end of our podcast, and we may go a little longer because I'm going to bring something up that I think you're going to be like, my God, we need another hour. But I want to hear your opinion as an expert on introversion with professionals, especially about introversion being a weakness. I knew it. Look at the clock. How much time we got?
Oh, my. It's interesting that you asked that, because in one of the surveys I saw, it was like 68% of the population identifies with being an introvert.
Really? That's bigger than I
However,
thought.
both introverts and extroverts see being an introvert as a disadvantage in their career, in their business, and social environments, that they see that as being a disadvantage. I think that's part of us not wanting to get outside of our comfort zone, because in that space, I know I listen better as an introvert. I am more empathetic.
Yeah.
Because I'm introspective. I'm considerate of other people. And when you've been an introvert for, I won't even tell my age, a couple of years, 1 or 2 years, right? I can read the energy in a room.
Yeah.
And I can connect with people where they are without them having to say anything. Those are skills that we just use, and they're strengths and not weaknesses.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not loud doesn't mean that we're weak, right? Just because we're not always loud. Matter of fact, I know sitting in a room, several leaders would look at me to gauge my reaction to the information because they knew that I was picking up things said and unsaid. And I think that is another strength that we have, that is out there, that we have thoughtful ideas, usually because of how we're wired. We can create processes in our minds. Now, good and bad, right? Because I can spend a lot of time in my head. It's a great place. I can live there a long time. At the same time, when you need that skill set to bring out what are possibilities that we can consider here, what are some things we haven't considered, that's where a skill set also is a strength for us, because we're able to process through it and think through it. Now, sometimes we do need the other people around us to say, that's good, let's go, right? We need that.
Yeah.
But being recognized for our strengths also helps us to be more willing to share more of those strengths, so the team expands.
Yeah.
And they get deeper insight, and we grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Actually
we
lean in
realize,
and nourish your own skill. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'll do the shorter version, but absolutely, I think the skill set that we bring to the table is a strength behind all the things that we do. Our ability our level of self-awareness, because we've spent so much time being aware of ourselves. Again, there's good and bad.
Yeah.
Our level of self-awareness usually goes through the roof, because we spent so much time navigating who we are, what do we want, how do we change that, how do I course correct, how can I be reflective. We just do that.
Yeah.
We just have to make sure it doesn't become a tool that we use to beat up on ourselves.
Yeah.
To use it
Become
for
a
good.
trap. Yeah.
Become a trap. Absolutely.
Would you tell us a little bit about your Introvert Achievers Network for Women? before we end today?
Yes, yes. So, one of the things that I saw is, again, I work with professional women. Some of them are advancing their careers. And I also saw a similarity with entrepreneurs who were starting out, solopreneurs that were starting out. Some of those same tendencies of isolation, not having their voice be heard, not knowing how to get out of the circle that they were in, and not having a community that was safe for them to practice things that they wanted to put out there. And so I created a community for introvert women. I say they have a podium and they have a seat at the table at the same time. And we go through practical things with building their leadership skills, the quiet impact method, finding your voice, and practicing your voice. What is your vision for what you want to be? We have a mastermind, which I absolutely is one of the favorite parts of the community to me. Set up a little bit like Napoleon Hill's mastermind, the collective minds. And it's where they have a voice. Typically in those environments, you can't talk about life or health or where you're struggling or this didn't work or any of those things, or celebrate and it be not seen as arrogant. No, we encourage all of that in the Introvert Achievers Network. And so it's a place that you can feel like I can be myself and I can grow and I can thrive.
Yeah. Love that. I don't think I've ever heard of anything quite like it. It sounds very unique. Would you let people know how they can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. The best way to get in touch with me is go to stephanieoden.com, ODEN.com, and you can see one of the things that I have there for introverts is the success pillars for quiet achievers. And you can go and you can download that resource, and it's like a 30-day opportunity to practice some of the pillars that we leverage, and then you can find out more about the community from there. So
Very cool.
That's great. I think I know someone who's going to go download that.
Take a look.
I take notes like this. She take notes like this. I know what's happening here.
It's
Yeah.
all in there.
Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today.
thank you for having me.
I can see we're going to have you back. There's so many other things that are coming up for me from our conversation that I want to explore. So we'll definitely have you back on.
Anytime.
Yeah, great. And I will see you outside of this podcast very soon. And thanks again for being here. And to everybody out there, thanks for listening. Please review and rate our podcast today. And don't forget, we have a retreat coming up in Sedona in 2026 in June. So check out our website at vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com retreats. And take care of each other. And don't forget to take care of yourself. We'll see you next time on Rise and Thrive.
Namaste. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. If you found this episode meaningful, please rate, review, and share it with someone who might need it. For upcoming retreats and to join the Vital Edge Wellness community, head to vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com. Let's rise and thrive together.